Welcome. Hi. Ciao, tschüss, cześć, and bonjour. Welcome to our next and first in 2023 Printing Academy. Happy to see the list of participants, and the list is growing. Good to see you all in 2023 in good health, I hope. I know that it's a little bit too late, but I would like to wish you all the best for this year. And I hope that this year will be much more stabilized and will secure development of all our businesses. And to be very honest, this meeting will be much more dedicated to discuss business aspects of packaging industry than technological aspects. The next Printing Academies this year will be dedicated for more technical aspects, but this time I would like to summarize what happened last year and to discuss what we predict to see in the future. I know that it's becoming a little bit like a tradition because last year we met in January and we were discussing exactly that topic, the situation in packaging market. So I would like to borrow the idea from Charles Dickens from Christmas Carol and start with the ghost of the past. So discuss what we were talking about in 2022 in January. I remember when we met at that time, terrified with the situation that happened after and in the middle of pandemia. We were afraid of the influence of pandemia and the style of life on our businesses, your and ours. And we were analyzing few aspects of current situation to illustrate how it can influence on prices. So maybe let's start with such a slide. I was looking for that picture for some time because I wanted to illustrate what happened in 2022. I think that roller coaster is the best illustration of what we experienced at that time. So we had pandemia, we had prices changes, we had difficulties in access to raw materials, we had legislation changes and macro and microeconomic situation. I hope that we survived in a good business health that difficulties, and we can see what we reported at that time and what is still valid and what changed. By the way, on the right-hand side, you can see the chat section. If you have any comments or questions, you can just easily put your question or comment there, and we can answer just in the middle even of the meeting. So no issue if you put your question anytime you want. So coming back to the slide. What happened in 2022? We were discussing growth in demand for cardboard and in general, cardboard and paper packaging. This was caused by pandemic and the change of habits of consumers. The question is if this aspect, if this is still valid for current days. We can see in the reports that the habits are not changing that much. Of course, we are not imprisoned in houses anymore, but many offices still work in the hybrid way, so home office plus office work. And this way is still influencing the demand for e-commerce solutions. So we may say that this aspect is still valid, but it's not that much influencing on capacity of paper mills. So we can see more material in the market, and it's far more available than it was in 2022. COVID as itself has already almost no influence on our businesses. Moreover, the blockade, the lack of deliveries from China simply stopped because they ended with zero COVID policy. And now the transportation, the communication with China is open, and that is highly influencing on the aspect of availability of cheap paper and cardboard. What else? We discussed ecological trends in 2022. We knew that they will be super important and valid for all businesses. And I believe that in 2023, the importance of sustainability and ecological trends were even more important and were growing. And high stock, this was a big pain because we knew that overstocking was a huge problem caused by nervousness and just because we wanted to keep our businesses going on. And it was difficult without knowledge if the material will be still available. Now, I believe that the situation with overstocking is less influencing on our business. What happened next? After we had our meeting in January, happened something completely unpredictable, which was war in Ukraine. It did really strengthen the previous mentioned aspects of our packaging life and business industry and business life. Fear of lack of materials has even increased. We had a road blockade from across the whole eastern border. So there was a really big threat that the previous lack of raw materials will be even bigger. And we had even bigger, greater destruction of supply chains. So this all was influencing prices. And this what we were afraid in the whole 2022. You can see here some graphs showing what happened in the first half of 2022. So paper and paper products prices were going up, and this trend was valid for almost all paper products because of this lack of material. So you can see here recovered paper, so recycled paper index, also for the first half of 2022, going up enormously, and it was very pessimistic from all perspectives. We were afraid of what will happen next. Here we have the graph showing corrugated board, which went up but then stabilized a little bit. And this was the first information showing that maybe there is an end of this climbing graphs. And this was quite a good information showing that maybe soon the situation will be more stabilized. And apart from the paper, what we reported to you was also the aspect of all raw materials that we use for our production. We are not the only producers in the market, and I know that you had the same problems on your side with your raw materials and production materials. The wave of cost increase went in general across all areas. So for us, it was significant, especially for those materials listed here in the slide. So varnishes, inks, plates, pallets, corrugated boxes, glues, and transportation. And what we did to secure the cooperation with you. First of all, I must say that we are proud of you, our customers, of you, our partners, suppliers, and ourselves, because we survived really in a good shape, good condition of the business. But because of those all difficulties with availability of raw materials, we pushed very much to implement a few simple rules. So first of all, we try to optimize our processes, our materials, and to talk with you about optimization. Then we implemented stable contracts with our suppliers, which secured at least the volume needed for the whole year. We had a flexible approach to raw materials, and we talked about that with you guys, just to have, in case, some other raw materials, some other papers, some other cardboards qualified for production. And we were close with you. We were discussing on a weekly, monthly basis what is needed and what is necessary to secure the business. I think that we passed the test. And now, what the new year 2022 will bring. Of course, we are far from making forecasts because I don't have a crystal ball, and we don't know what will happen. We know how the situation in Ukraine influenced on our business, and it wasn't completely predictable. So difficult to say for sure, but we would like this year to be more stable and peaceful because we plan development, and not only us. The thing that I want to discuss with you now and go through are chances in the market which are brought by our suppliers, paper mills, because they plan a really important development influencing on capacity of their own plants and in general providing additional volume to the market. This is great information, and I think that it would be also good to show you profiles of our suppliers, cardboard and paper suppliers, to show you who are they and how stable and how developing companies they are. So our agenda for the next part of our webinar would be to talk about raw material safety. We will discuss profiles of suppliers and new investments that they reported in news. Then energy and cost pressure, which is quite important from our perspective, and we are still looking very closely what will happen within the next months. Then I would like to skip and briefly inform you about EU legislation changes, because they can have a small influence on our business, and then briefly discuss big pressure on sustainability. Okay, so let's start with the profiles of our suppliers. The first one is well known to you because it's Metsa. Metsa Board is a company who is partnering Printing Academy. So you had opportunity to meet with Metsa team previously, and I know that we will do that again. And in fact, we will have on-site training as well, organized together with Metsa Board. But what you know about Metsa is that they provide cardboard, that they supply cardboard. Surprising is that Metsa is a company with a unique structure because they are a cooperative owned by almost 100,000 Finnish forest owners. It is quite unusual. And moreover, Metsa is not only Metsa Board. They have a wider range of wood supply and forest services, which are wood products, then pipe and sawn timber, then Metsa board, the part of the Metsa that we cooperate with, and Metsa tissue, which you can know pretty well, just because you are consumers using Metsa tissue product. Metsa has 8 production locations, but they sail into 28 countries. So it's a big group with an unusual structure. What we, Intrograf, buy from Metsa. You can see on the screen the list of products offered by Metsa board, and part of them are very specific ones with the barriers or some special coatings. But you can see on the list the most popular, I think, Metsa board Classic FBB, which is our GC2 cardboard, and very good GC1 replacement, which is Metsa board Prime FBB Bright. Here I must add that Metsa is the one of the most developing suppliers from our list, and we are very happy that they work in line with principles of sustainable development. In fact, we are trying to maybe not copy, but learn from them how to do that in such a great way. But this development is really huge. You can see on the screen 2 points listed in news reports. So they already finished the investment in Rauma in Finland, which is a new sawmill. The cost of the whole investment was 260 million euros, and it's already finished. The other investment that we are looking forward very much is Husum in Sweden, where Metsa board is going to invest almost 210 million euros, and they will expand the solid box board production from 400,000 tons to 600,000 tons, which will add to the market additional capacity of 200,000 tons by 2025. This is great news because those materials are exactly dedicated for the products which we produce, so folded boxes. The last mentioned in the media reports investment is Kaskinen in Finland. So this is a kind of preparation work now. So Metsa is creating the whole investment plan, but it will add a pure 800,000 tons of solid box board to the market. So it is a huge volume. The most important fact is here that, and it's worth mentioning in those times where ecological trends are super important, that they use clean green energy in their paper mills. They work on the CO2 reduction, and they in general conduct the production in line, in accordance with the circular economy rules. So this is the most promising cooperation from the perspective of leading Intrograf into sustainability road. And here we can see Husum in Sweden, the paper mill of Metsa board. And we hope to see someday the plant in person. Okay? So the other partner, the second supplier of Intrograf would be Stora Enso. Stora Enso has a different structure than Metsa board. And they produce also pulp and paper materials, but they are also focusing on biomaterials, wood construction, and other industries connected with wood. And what's more interesting, they've got also conversion plants quite an advanced production of corrugated materials. So this is different structure. They now have 22,000 employees, but that's connected with the whole converting plants as well. And the company is listed on the stock. They produce material which is now one of the most important sources for us of GC2, which is tambrite. But it's not only the only material that is for us important. They provide also material called Performa, Enzoco, and CKB, which is a great craft material, white on top, which we can use for more sophisticated products, for example, cosmetics, or we can use it where the strengthness of material is required. Stora Enso is another supplier who is investing in development, and what we can find in media is the latest announcement that the converting machine in Oulu in Finland is going to be changed into a board machine. So this investment is connected with a changing of specification of the plant. So from converting to a board machine, production is scheduled to start in 2025, and it's worth 1 billion euros. What's the most important, it will add an additional capacity, additional volume to the market in the amount of 750,000 tons. The products that they will produce are, again, meeting our requirements, so it's going to be folded boxboard and coated unbleached board CUK. So these are investments of Stora Enso, and now we can skip to our third partner cooperating with us. They supply again cardboard, and this is Carton. This company has again completely different structure from the previous ones. Carton is a part of the bigger group, Group, and they have now 6 paper mills. You can see the names on the list. One of them is Kwidzyn plant. Some time ago, I mean, we are cooperating with Kwidzyn for probably 20 years or more. Previously, the owner of Kwidzyn was International Paper, US company that owns only this one and only plant in Europe. The plant was sold to Carton, and that's why we now cooperate with Carton. Kwidzyn has total cardboard and paper capacity on the level of 745,000 tons, but 230,000 tons is dedicated for coated cardboard, so the product that we use. What are those products? So in general, Kwidzyn produce 3 types of products. The first one is cardboard, so the one we use, and they have one dedicated machine for that. They produce as well a commercial paper, which you can know probably from your offices, which is an offset paper for office printers. The other product is a paper for production of thinner packaging, like paper bags, for example. But going back to cardboard, what we buy from Carton? We buy Alaska White, which was previously called Arctica, and Alaska Plus. So these are 2 main types that we use for production of folded pharmaceutical and cosmetic boxes. Alaska Plus is equivalent of GC2 material, and Alaska White is an equivalent for GC1 material. Carton, unfortunately, is not reporting officially any investments, but we are hoping to hear something new about them as well in the future. And now we are skipping to our partners, our supplier of paper, of leaflet paper. First of them is OP Papierna. This is the largest factory of Delford Group. Maybe you don't know that, but Delford Group is quite a big company owning more than one paper mills. But focusing on OP Papierna, they produce thin print papers, and which is unusual in comparison with pharmaceutical products, they produce as well a cigarette paper as well as offset. They mostly rely on export. They've got 500 employees, just like Intrograf, and they have 3 paper machines, giving the total volume of 70,000 tons per year. You may ask the question why we do not use any Polish or closer supplier of leaflet paper. It's just because there is no such a supplier in Polish market, no paper mill providing such a product. There is one small supplier. In general, the factory is not small, but they provide material which is not typical for our production. So they have a smaller share in our supplies, which is Arctic paper from Kostrzyn. This paper has higher grammages than are requested in a pharmaceutical business. So starting with 60 GCM. So the problem is that we want to produce on thinner paper, and that's why we choose Delford or OP Papierna. Here you can see one of their machines, and what we buy from OP Papierna are 2 types of paper, in general into, or maybe maximum 3 grammages. So it is OP Medical Print and OP Polar in weights. 40, 45, and 50 grams. OP Papierna or Delford, they are not reporting any investments, but they did invest it last year, so they already modernized their paper machine. Okay, and the last on the list is Goričane. Goričane, again, a supplier of thin leaflet paper, is located in Slovenia. They have annual capacity of 80,000 tons per year. And again, they rely mostly on export. They export to 40 countries. They have quite a wide offer of different types of thin papers. You can see them on the list. So these are thin papers dedicated for pharmaceutical business, but as well for other printed materials, so colored paper, specialty papers, secured papers, and different types of coated papers. And here we can see their paper mill in Slovenia. Products which we buy are well known to you, because these are Sora Medico paper and grammages 40, 45, and 50 grams. Okay, these were profiles of our suppliers and the way they try to grow and invest in future. But they are not the only ones that will grow. Intrograf is going to invest and extend the plant of Vetterov Street. You probably know those plans, because the extension, we wanted to make the extension last year, but because of the situation in paper market, general, in business all across the globe, we decided to postpone the investment. But now is the right time to do that. So the extension is going to start in April this year. And just to remind you, what we are going to do is to extend the plant with the two-story floor building. We want to expand a warehouse. We want to add, of course, additional unloading places and to use the solar panels for green energy. And they will be located on the roof of this new part of the plant. It's going to look like that on the picture. We plan to start the operation in 2024, and this investment will give us additional capacity or additional opportunity to double the capacity to 2 billion leaflets and 2 billion cartons. And just for comparison, current capacity of our plant is approximately on the level of 1.2 billion leaflets and 1.2 billion cartons. So this is a significant capacity growth, and I'm happy to announce that because we can grow with you, our dear customers. So those information are quite optimistic because we can see more and more material coming in to the market, which is good. But there are some challenges which I would like to mention, and they are influencing all businesses, not only paper, but we know that the paper mills and in general paper businesses are consuming a lot of energy. So energy pressure, energy cost pressure, in fact. I've read, I think, a week ago, an oil prognosis from January. So we can find there this risk mentioned already. So paper and cardboard manufacturers and their customers in Poland are starting the new year with a great uncertainty. And why is like that? It's because of the energy cost. They prognose that at least the first 3 months are likely to remain challenging because the businesses would like to understand how much they will pay for the energy. These high energy prices are not only touching or concerning businesses and the big ones, but also households and the small companies as well. You can see on the graph how it's going to change prices of energy comparing to 2022. And it is in Polish, so I will explain you what you can see underneath the graph. So first of all, the first columns are connected with households. So the change is not going to be that significant. It is significant, but not on that high level. The other columns are representing medium and small companies, government-owned companies and local government authorities. And the last one, where you can see the number plus 94%, it's representing the big businesses. So this is the prognosis reported in Energy Forum. Of course, we don't know how it's going to remain for future. We know the situation just right now. We are monitoring that and trying to predict what influence it will have for future. However, the prices of raw materials seems to be stabilized. We can see that this energy aspect, this energy pressure can again interfere a little bit the paper market. The other thing that I would like to discuss is regulation of packaging and packaging waste document, which was released by European Union, in fact, European Commission. So this is completely other aspect of our business and our cooperation with you. I had a few questions from customers in Poland. If this regulation and the changes, amendments added to this regulation will change anything in our cooperation, in fact. This is difficult to answer at that early stage because what is reported, written in regulation, it's going to be slowly rolled out by authorities to private businesses. So to be very honest, we still don't know what to expect. However, our paper packaging business is quite safe because in general it is very ecological type of a business. The new regulations appeared in the end of last year, and we know that the work on those changes took a long time, and those changes were widely consulted with different societies. They also met with many objections, especially from the paper producers, the paper mills, and recycling industry. The most questionable thing was, from our perspective, was the obligatory content of recycling material in cardboard. Why we had objections? Because the European Union wanted to have guaranteed content of recycled fiber in every single type of board. From the perspective of packaging businesses like ours, or from the perspective of paper mills, this is destroying or making impossible to meet some of the functionality aspects of the board. I remember we once discussed it on the printing academy dedicated for board construction. So some of boards, like craft, for example, they have unique features and they meet those requirements because they do not have completely recycled content inside, and still the material is just the same recyclable like material having the recycled content. So ECMA and other industry associations, they made a statement that this change will influence on functionality of packaging, and this amendment wasn't included into the latest release of regulations. But what was changed? So first of all, European Union had packaging classes. So each package will be labeled with information on what the package is made of and in which waste stream it should go. I believe that this regulation can change the artworks of some of the paper packaging. So it may be that it will be required to add additional labeling, additional information where the product should be thrown away. So to each trash can, for example. But we don't have any confirmation on that yet. The other change is connected with reduction of packaging waste, and it's indicating that the member states are going to reduce every single year the number of wastes with a specified percentage. So you can see in 2030 by 5%, 2035 by 10%, and so on. How it's going to be sorted out in terms of local waste streams, we still don't know. And the other change is connected with ban on small packaging. In Poland, it was already implemented, so single-use plastic materials are already banned, but they would like to go further and make it far more strict. So these are the changes that they were reported in Regulation on Packaging and Packaging Waste Amendment, published on 30th November 2022. We will, for sure, observe and monitor that very closely to understand if in future it will have any influence on our business. And the last prognosis for this year is connected with a big pressure on sustainability. So from our perspective, Intrograf continues our way to sustainable development. In general, we operate in two ways, which is obvious, internally and externally. Internally, we are encouraging our employees to take part in eco actions to make the engagement bigger. We are introducing new technologies. For example, those solar panels during our new investment will add a green energy, a source of green energy to all other sources. We are adapting procedures and documentation to meet international requirements, which is EcoVadis, because our plan is to have constant and stable development in terms of EcoVadis way. Now we've got a bronze medal. This year we are trying to switch it to silver and then to gold. We are as well working with ACES in that field. So I mentioned about Metsaborg, and using their experience, we would like to make those eco activities more important within our company. We operate as well externally by promoting sustainable design, and we will have next Polish Printing Academy dedicated to sustainable design and manufacturing. We have also next Printing Academy dedicated to FSC certificates and PEFC certificates, just to describe and explain what is the difference between one and the second one, and to explain what is worth to have in your company, which material to buy, and how you can choose it. Those will be hot topics for future. We are constantly developing sustainability in our company. So this was all for today. We reached the end of our meeting and what was planned for today. I know that it was not very technological, but I think it's worth, especially at the beginning of the year, to speak about threats and chances in the market. From my perspective, I can see more chances because the capacity of paper mills is growing, our capacity is growing. Our dear customers, you are also growing within your own businesses, and I'm hoping that we will survive those energy pressure and go back to the right stream of development. If you have any questions, I'm at your disposal now for some time, and after, of course, via phone or email, you can contact me directly and we can discuss any topic you would like to speak about. So I would like to thank you, but still I will wait for second questions, if there are any. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Don't hesitate to ask questions. I know that it's, yes? Yes, of course. We can share the presentation with you. We share the presentation with participants if it's required, so no issue. Thank you for participating, and hope to see you soon on the next Printing Academy, which will be dedicated for printing the facts. Thank you very much. Have a great day.